And now it's time for Church Chat.
Welcome, friends, to another edition of Church Chat. I'm joined today by Shane Watson. And Shane, this is really the official beginning of summer and a wonderful, happy time. I was glad to see, as I was sitting on my computer going through our book study, I was glad to see and hear out my window some of the Canada Day celebrations that were going on here at St. John's. I know you took part in that. I wonder if you want to chat to us a little bit about what that day was like.
Yeah, well, Canada Day was obviously a bit different than usual this year, and there were lots of bells, though. So we were there with a handful of members of advisory board and a couple of people who were doing some work down in the treasure trove to tidy things up. Heard the bells ringing. There was our bell, other bells around town. There were some people that we could hear playing O Canada over various musical instruments. And so it was a really nice kind of recognition of the day, and also an opportunity for our community to come together in a very small way, a socially distanced way, but to see some other people who we're used to seeing around the church there in person and in the flesh. And there's a couple of pictures and a video up on our Facebook page.
Yeah, it's a wonderful thing, and please do check that out. I received a message from one of my colleagues. In fact, two of my colleagues were in Port Hope on Canada Day, but one of them sent me a message saying, I can hear the church bells ringing, and she was just down on Walton Street and really enjoyed that. So it's a grateful thing that we were able, even in this time, to make a joyful noise and to give thanks for the blessings of life in this wonderful country. One of the ways that we've done that is, again, through the wonderful ingenuity of Penny Nutbrown, our Sunday school teacher, who has collected expressions of gratitude under the heading of I Love Canada Because. And Penny has strung up another chain of gratitude. If you've been paying attention to St. John's social media feeds, and if you've had a chance to drive by the church, you would have seen that chain of gratitude that's hanging up between two trees on the lawn in front of the rectory and parish hall. Well, now there's a new one, I Love Canada Because, and all of the expressions of gratitude for the blessings of life in this country that came in. So if you get a chance, check out the St. John's Facebook page and Twitter feed. There are pictures of it there. And also, if you get a chance to drive or walk by the church, you can get a closer glimpse of it in person. Now, we are looking forward to a time when we'll be able to gather again for worship in our beloved parish church. And it seems that that date is approaching. I'm not going to announce a date today because it hasn't been set, but the diocese has published guidelines for reopening, and we are tentatively looking at a date in September when we will be able to gather again as church. These guidelines are extensive, and I'm still reading and marking and inwardly digesting them, but they are available on the diocesan webpage, toronto.anglican.ca. right there on the front page of the website, so you can take a look for yourself. What you'll see is that church will look quite different than it has in former times, but that we will be able to return to celebrations of the Holy Eucharist, to gathered worship and prayer, and that is a truly joyful thing and welcome news, I'm sure, for all of us who are missing our church and missing the sacramental life of our church. Shane, as chair of the advisory board, you're one of the many people at St. John's who will be working on implementing these guidelines as they pertain to our specific situation here. And I wonder if you might want to talk about some of that work that the advisory board and the church wardens and others are doing.
Yes, it's summer, but the advisory board is still busy with a number of different plans that are in the works, one of which is supporting the plan to return to worship in the church. So I too have been looking through the guidelines, and one thing I would say is if you go and take a look at them, there's a checklist of requirements at the back. One is the red phase, which is what we're in right now, and the other is the yellow phase. So if you're looking at the document, I would focus on the yellow phase because it's a little less depressing than the red phase that we're in now. So yeah, the advisory board is looking at the document. we're coming up with the kind of questions and identifying the decision points that we'll need to make about how we are going to handle return to worship in the church in the St. John's context. And that's something that's going to be happening through the summer, and the wardens will be discussing that as well. One of the things that I note the document explicitly says is that no person should feel obliged to attend in-person worship. And so to those people who are willing and anxious to get back to the church building, as you say, the experience is going to be a little bit different. I think we'll still recognize it. But if that's something that's not comfortable for you, and the online worship experience, the online environment is going to continue to be the safer place for you for a while, we're still committed to continue to offer that. And like the document says, nobody should feel obliged to come back if it's not safe for them.
Yeah, and unequivocally, I add my voice and my support to that, and my assurance that we will be continuing to offer worship of some kind in this online space. And in fact, one of the blessings of this time has been the opportunity to worship in this new way. That may sound funny, as I'm so eager to get back into the church, as many of you are, but I think it's a really wonderful thing, and it's become a boon to our broader ministry, and I'd like to see that continue. So please, yes, absolutely, that is true. No one is required to come for worship. And also, you should consider your participation in our online activities to be church. We are the church. We are creating community for the worship of God and for fellowship such as it is with one another. And that's what Christian people do. And it's been a blessing even during this strange time. So that will continue.
Yeah, one thing I might say to people is that it's one thing that is sure is that the wearing of masks will be something that's required in the church. And so likely we'll have disposable masks available. But if you have a fabric mask, a reusable mask, then I think you'll likely be invited to bring that if you come to church. If you don't have one of those yet, then I would encourage you to maybe obtain one between now and then. It's probably something that's going to be useful not only if you're attending church and will help reduce our burden in managing things, but it's going to be a requirement at other stores and things like that you may need to go to in the future. So.
Certainly that's true. Yeah, and thank you for adding that, Shane. And I won't necessarily get into the scale and the scope of the document because it's there for your reading, and frankly, the document is more extensive than we have time for in this format today, but do check it out. And also, we appreciate all of the offers of help that have already come in, not just from church wardens and advisory board members, but from others, people who are willing to lend a hand. And you will see in perusing that document that this will be a team effort and will require sustained effort for probably the foreseeable future until we find a way out of this pandemic fully. So please do consider that prayerfully, and we're grateful always for your support. Thank you again to all of those who have supported our ministry at St. John's during this time. It's not over. The ministry of the church will never be over. This is a time when our ministry has changed, but I feel that we have acquitted ourselves quite well as an entire parish. I'm not just talking about parish leadership. I have been so moved by the expressions of support that I've had in emails and notes and letters that have been left for me at the church and at the rectory. Thank you, and God bless you for your support spiritually and materially, so that the ministry of St. John's can continue for many years to come. Well, my friends, I do thank you for joining us today on Church Chat. We'll look forward to seeing you again in this space before long. God bless you.